This is ABC 15 Mornings.
It's time to make a decision. Major concerns over public health and major concerns over the economy's health. All of Arizona waiting today for Governor Doug Ducey's plans to help the state rebound from this pandemic.
An executive order to beef up meat production. President Trump addressing concerns about meat shortages at the grocery store. We're going to take a closer look at the safety measures needed for workers.
And here we go again. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water because we are under an excessive heat warning again. Iris will be along in just a few seconds for that. In the meantime, we say good morning to you. 6 o'clock now as we begin a new hour here on ABC 15 Mornings. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Nick Soletti live here in studio. Kaylee O'Kelly is social distancing and working from home today. Hey, Kaylee, how's it going?
Going well, especially considering how beautiful it is. Bright and early with the sun up and shining. That will not be the case, though, a little later this afternoon. And it is very important that we all pay close attention to Iris Hermosillo because this one could get dangerous.
Yeah, and we're talking potentially some record-setting heat. Heat is the #1 weather-related killer across the board, across the country. And we are feeling unusually hot temperatures today as those temperatures hit near 105 by this afternoon. So we remain in weather action mode as we also remain under that excessive heat warning. Today's going to be a good day to avoid being outside in the sun if you can after 11 a.m. and through about 5 o'clock here this evening as temperatures will be heating up faster than they have all week long. Look for a high today of 105 degrees. That's the high temperature this afternoon. And not only is that the highest temperature we've ever seen in the month of April, it could also tie today's record high temperature set on this date back in 1992. And tomorrow, another day at 105 degrees. So April is certainly going out hot. Tomorrow, also a record-setting day. And look at how quickly we'll warm up. We'll go from 74 degrees where we are right now. I think we're going to see those triple digits earlier in the day at around 2 o'clock this afternoon with that peak temperature of 105 by the middle of the afternoon. We'll talk about how these excessive heat warnings, how long they'll last, and whether there's any relief in that 7-day forecast up ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Iris. We want to get you straight to the COVID-19 cases here in Arizona. When the Department of Health Services reports new figures later this morning, the number of cases could jump over 7,000. We can tell you nearly 300 people have died here in Arizona. 1% of Arizonans have been tested. And of those tested, 10% have come back positive. It was 1 month ago when our governor issued this stay-at-home order. It is set to expire tomorrow. Today, we are expecting to hear a plan from our governor about the future of Arizona and how things will get going again with our economy. We do want to check in with our Mark Thompson, who is social distancing from home. And Mark, interesting to hear some business owners saying that they are going to open regardless of what the governor says.
That's exactly right, Kaylee. Good morning to you. Yes, several Valley businesses choosing to not wait on the governor's guidance. In fact, they say that they're going to be opening regardless tomorrow of his executive orders. And we're talking about businesses from hair salons in Surprise to embroidery shops in Mesa. Many entrepreneurs posting their plans on a growing Facebook group aimed at rapidly reopening the state. The group is calling on all businesses to ramp it up again on Friday. They're also planning large gatherings in public parks on Saturday and another public protest at the state capitol on Sunday. Business owners tell ABC 15 that their decision to reopen has less to do with the coronavirus and more to do with their livelihoods.
All of us self-employed, we also have to take care of our families. Our bills haven't stopped. Food still has to go in our children's mouths.
If I don't open my business, I will lose everything that I worked so hard for.
Business owners in the service industries like hair and nail salons, say that they're already booked up Friday and this weekend. They also say, though, that they are taking extra precautions to sanitize all of their equipment to keep their customers safe. Meanwhile, the governor, they sent a statement to ABC 15 reading in part, "Our state is prepared and we have slowed the spread of COVID-19. We expect Arizonans to continue acting responsibly." Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC 15 Arizona. Nick, back to you.
Mark, thank you. While the governor waits to make his decision, mayors across the valley gathering at a round table, some feeling they're not getting enough information from the governor's office.
Governor Ducey used to have phone calls, or his staff did daily with mayors at the beginning of the virus, and they have canceled that. So my my guess is as good as anyone else's what we will have.
Several mayors agreed reopening Arizona will have to be done gradually, and of course will continue to have to limit crowd size as well. As more states lift restrictions, the president faces pressure to increase nationwide testing. Meantime, there are concerns over a food supply shortage. Here's ABC's Inez de la Cuetara.
Good morning. As the number of coronavirus cases here in the U.S. tops 1 million, some governors are now pressing the administration to ramp up testing, which many say will be crucial to safely reopening the economy.
This morning, parts of the country back in business. Georgia setting the pace with restaurants now welcoming customers to sit down and have a meal. Beauty salons reopening.
It's impossible to practice social distancing in a nail shop.
California saying it's weeks away, not months, from easing restrictions, while New York's governor also looking for a path forward.
We want to reopen, but we want to do it without infecting more people or overwhelming the hospital system.
Simon Property Group, one of the nation's largest mall owners, now planning to reopen 49 of their malls around the country starting May 1st.
And in Ohio, officials reversing course on the use of masks. After saying it was mandatory, they're now strongly recommending the measure. Meanwhile, Vice President Pence facing criticism for not wearing a mask during his visit to the Mayo Clinic, even after the hospital informed his team of their policy.
I don't have the coronavirus. I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to be here, to be able to speak to these researchers, these incredible healthcare personnel.
This as the top infectious disease expert on the coronavirus task force warns it will likely be another month before anyone who needs a test can get one.
Dr. Anthony Fauci now warning of a second wave of infections after the summer if treatments are not discovered. But there is some good news. A promising vaccine candidate now moving into clinical trials at Oxford University. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
Well, something else to consider, especially so with everyday school districts, parents and students just trying to keep up with online learning, is what will be happening in the fall. Are students going to be returning to buildings?
How do we make certain that we can open our schools safely? We can move our students back on our campuses safely so we can open up the rest of the economy. And it has to be in that order.
Several options have been talked about, including having students and staff members wear personal protective equipment, maybe staggering the school year, scheduling students in shifts, continuing remote learning, and reducing class size. Either way, a statewide framework to help guide schools reopening is due out by the end of May, but districts will get the final say.
It's 6:07. It is a Weather Action Day as we will be dealing with more triple digits again today. April normally isn't this hot. It's probably hit a lot of you by surprise. John Genovese live at Papago Park for us. John, we know the triple digit heat can be downright dangerous at times.
Yeah, Nick, we've already seen a lot of people getting out here early for a hike or a run. But when we're talking about heat illness, firefighters say the best defense is drinking plenty of water. As a general rule, you should be drinking at least 32 ounces. That's about the size of a standard Nalgene bottle at least every 2 hours. Now, every year, the state health department says around 3,000 people wind up in the emergency room due to issues from the heat. Between 2008 and 2018, close to 2,000 people in Arizona died due to heat-related illnesses. So what are the signs of a problem? Well, typically it starts with heat exhaustion. That can mean heavy sweating, cold and clammy skin, a fast but weak pulse, and cramping. Then comes heat stroke, which is more severe. That's when you'll see your temperature spike with a strong pulse. Now that can also bring confusion, and you might even find you stop sweating altogether. But aside from drinking plenty of water, firefighters say you really need to know your limits under the sun.
Maybe when you go out and take your hike, you do it in phases. Just because you go to the mountain doesn't mean you have to go to the top of the mountain every time. Get your endurance up, do all the things we talked about, right gear, tons of water, bring a cell phone. And if you do those practices, you're going to have a better time and a safer hike.
And something else amid this pandemic, many shared facilities at parks, be it bathrooms or water fountains, are now closed off. So you want to make sure you're bringing plenty of water with you. Certainly it's important to enjoy the outdoors, but you want to make sure you're doing it safely. For now, reporting live, John Genovese, ABC 15, Arizona.
All right, John, thank you. Still ahead on ABC 15 mornings, getting the economy back on track. Apparently, it's all about the ABCs. And the National Spelling Bee is canceled this year, but a couple of siblings want to give students a chance to SPELL, especially those who will no longer qualify next year.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
At 6:12, time for your Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group. This is a live look outside along the I-17 and the Loop 101. Nice sunrise shot there over the mountains. Cars look like they're getting by A-OK right now in this area. No accidents to report on other valley freeways and no major delays. So if you have to leave the house right now, you should be in good shape. In the meantime, let's talk about that most accurate forecast on this Weather Action Day. Let's bring in meteorologist Iris Hermosillo. Iris, we are expecting more dangerous heat.
Absolutely, and that's why we remain under that excessive heat warning. Now, I know triple digits are expected here in the desert, but certainly not this early in the year. And for as hot as we're gonna get today, that's not something we typically see during the month of April. So it could certainly take a toll on your body, on your health, if you're not being careful. And of course, on our most vulnerable. That excessive heat warning remains in effect through tomorrow evening. It includes the entire Phoenix area, most of Pinal County, the lower elevations all across western Arizona, and even southern and southeastern Arizona too. Let me show you that excessive heat warning. You can see all of those areas highlighted in pink. It's pretty much all of western Arizona, all of central Arizona, and again, spots around Safford in those lower elevations where the heat will be dangerously high. And we're talking potentially some all-time record high temperatures for the month of April. For example, for Phoenix, 105 is the highest temperature we've ever recorded during this month, and it's only happened 3 other times during the month of April. It could happen today. It could happen again tomorrow. Spots like Flagstaff and Prescott, all-time record high temperatures in jeopardy there too. In fact, for Flagstaff, today the forecast is 80 degrees. So that would tie the all-time record highest temperature we've recorded in the month of April in Flagstaff. Prescott's all-time record also in jeopardy with a forecast high of 90 degrees. It'll be even hotter out west. Check out those high temperatures in Bullhead City up to 107, 107 today at Lake Havasu. We're talking a high of 90 in Payson, 96 in Globe and Casa Grande, heading into the hundreds this afternoon as well. As you look at those temperatures across the East Valley, some of the hottest spots will be Mesa, Gilbert, Tempe, up to 105 today. But notice spots like Cave Creek, even Anthem, will hit the triple digits for the first time this year too, with a high of 100 in Anthem, 104 in Peoria, 105 today in Litchfield Park and in Laveen. Overnight lows will provide some relief again before we start to heat up again, and tomorrow we could be right back up to 105. Right now, feeling pretty nice with clear skies. That temperature at 74 degrees. Winds are light out of the east at 5 miles an hour. As we go through the day today, expect light winds with those winds shifting to out of the west this afternoon, and we'll likely see those triple digits earlier today. So I'm expecting about 101 by 2 o'clock. That was yesterday's high temperature. We'll keep warming up to 105 today. We'll hit that sometime in that 3 to 4 o'clock hour. We'll still be in the hundreds today through 6 p.m., so it's a bigger window of triple digit heat before we start to drop back down into the mid 90s. In addition to the excessive heat warnings, we're also under an ozone high pollution advisory today. That means folks who have breathing sensitivities or folks who are sensitive, like kids, the elderly, should limit their time outdoors anyway, not only because of the heat, but also because of that poor air quality as ozone concentrations rise. We could be under that same ozone alert tomorrow. Notice that temperatures tomorrow, again, 105, that excessive heat warning remaining in effect through Thursday night, but Friday, still pretty hot. Still in the hundreds on Saturday, and then just a slight drop in temperature Sunday into Monday into the upper 90s. But then we're right back into the triple digits, guys, on Tuesday.
Okay, Iris, thank you. Today we'll get a more detailed explanation from the Federal Reserve on its economic efforts against the coronavirus. The Fed chair will discuss the lending programs just launched meant to prevent further damage to the economy. He's also expected to speak about how long interest rates will stay near zero. Some economists believe rates won't be raised until 2022 or even 2023. International travelers coming into the U.S. may soon have to go through temperature and virus checks. The Trump administration is considering this requirement for flights from heavily infected areas.
Well, as the governor works on how Arizona will reopen again, some economists are sharing a better understanding of what we can expect in the long run.
V stands for V-shaped recovery. It's the best case scenario. The economy comes out of this sharp downturn with an equally sharp bounce back. The U-shaped recovery has the workforce rebounding a little slower. And the L? It's a worst case scenario. we would linger in this downturn for a long time, barely crawling out, and it could last for years. Last month, economists and financial experts were predicting a V-shaped recovery.
Doing what needs to be done for this health crisis, and it's shorter in nature. It could be just coming back into things as usual.
We could turn this around this year, I think. I still think there is real hope for that.
But a lot has changed in April.
I don't think that anymore.
Todd McCracken is the president of the National Small Business Association.
I think the realization most of us are in is that even when this turns, it's not going to turn uniformly across the country. And so even if I, as a business owner, am ready to do business again. In my area, we flattened the curve, we reduced the curve, and we're opening back up again. It doesn't follow that my vendors and my customers and my supply chain are in the same spot.
He believes we will see a U-shaped recovery. In a recent Reuters poll of 50 economists, half of the respondents predict this U-shaped recovery.
I think we'll see some activity really bounce back because there's a lot of pent-up demand for a lot of activities that people are unable to do while they're social distancing. But at the same time, a lot of sectors will have structural adjustments made that will just take some time.
So all of the experts agree. Of course, the economy will be bouncing back. The uncertainty is how long it's going to take to get some jobs going again, and there are going to be a lot of jobs that are gone forever. The good news in all of this is that by adapting to all of the changes that we have seen, there are a lot of opportunities actually being presented right now because of innovation.
Yeah, a lot of innovation going on there, Kaylee. That's absolutely right. 619, the Rebound Arizona. It starts with people returning to the workforce. And today, a virtual job fair could help that process. Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona hosting that job fair on Zoom from 10 to 1:30 today, with 10 companies looking to fill 300 positions.
We will be connecting with every single one of those job seekers. They can let us know in the chat function, or we'll be following up with them to say, is there an employer you want to connect with?
You have to register for this event. We have a link on abc15.com/rebound.
Okay, so with the Scripps National Spelling Bee canceled, there are 2 teenagers who competed last year who are doing something so cool for kids this year. They have created an online spelling bee, and this should be really fun. It's actually going to be running at the same time that the Scripps National Spelling Bee would have been. And this is to get back to the kids who have worked so hard this year to get there.
So much time, so much effort, so much energy. It's not just a speller who works on this, it's also their entire family. So it impacts a lot of people.
Like, especially for 8th graders, like, I think it's just like one more chance to, I guess, show their skills so that like all the work that they put in for like the past couple of years and especially this year, it wouldn't just be for nothing.
That's right. So it's called the Spell Pundit Online National Spelling Bee. It will be similar to the Scripps one with a written test and then a semifinal and final spelling rounds.
Still to come this morning, Valley doctors teaming up to fill in the gaps where the government can't keep up. What they're doing to prevent a major outbreak that would bog down local hospitals, and how you can help make a difference.
Finding a way to respond and rebuild to the coronavirus pandemic. As a part of our initiative, the Rebound Arizona, we're showcasing Arizonans stepping up, helping others, and keeping Arizona alive. One Valley family's been serving the community for decades. In today's We're Open Arizona, we're heading to Commodore Guadalajara in Phoenix, right off the I-17 near Central Avenue.
They've been a staple in the Valley for decades.
We've been open for 50 years. My grandfather started it. It was originally under a different name in a different location, not too far from where we're at now, but and moved over to the central area where we're currently located in downtown Phoenix, South Central on the I-17 right there. And it's been there ever since.
Commodore Guadalajara. The menu here is made from family recipes.
We make everything from scratch. It's homemade. It's good. It's made with love for sure.
But business is different now, a lot different. The restaurant closed in March, just hours after the governor announced an executive order mandating restaurants go to takeout only. A massive dining room now empty.
Our seating is kind of unique. We You walk in and there's our front room, and then you go around the back and there's our giant back room that people don't know about. It can seat about 130 in the back and another additional 100 in the front. So, or a little bit more than that in the front too.
The restaurant closing altogether in March. Then a couple weeks later, they reopened with a scaled-down menu and scaled-down staffing. All orders to go.
Right now, we're only working off of like basically 12 to 14 employees currently, and normally we have 75 to 78 employees.
Sure, the structure of how they operate has changed, but the good food has not.
We have the basic, our combination plates that have all the tacos, enchiladas, burritos, tostadas, flautas, all that kind of stuff. We have some of our seafood dishes and our grill, that big grill that I was talking about, where you can pick chicken, steak, or pork on that, which is good for feeding large families. It comes with rice and beans, tortillas, chips, and salsa. So you can serve your whole family with just that one thing.
And just like always, the food is from scratch with love.
I always tell people, I'm like, it's worth the drive. It's our family recipes. It was my grandmother's recipe, my grandfather's recipe that's there. So there's nothing not authentic about this. It's not like a drive-through Mexican restaurant. We're definitely more of like an authentic dine-in.
Well, if you know a restaurant doing amazing things, we want to share their stories. So let us know about them at abc15.com/open. And for resources on jobs, food, finances, or moments of hope, head to abc15.com/rebound.
To open or not to open, that is the question. But with that stay-at-home order set to expire tomorrow, is it too soon? We'll have the health experts' opinions up next.
Plus, how a reality star and business mogul is helping to save lives during this pandemic all across the U.S. and right here in Arizona.